carries. The meeting will please come to order. If I can find my statement here. Where is it? I don't even have it there, I think. What did I do with my speech? Does anyone have a copy of that speech that I make?
I think they've got it memorized by now, right?
I should have, but I don't know if I can hoof it.
I think between the three of us, we could bring it.
This is a duly organized meeting of the Joliet Zoning Board of Appeals. In our capacity, we hear meetings for the strict provisions of the ordinance. And orders of this type, we are the final answer. And orders of land use, the city council is the final responsibility. You got it? Here we go.
Sonia to the rescue.
You think after 36 years I'd know this by heart, wouldn't you? This is a duly advertised meeting of the Joliet Zoning Board of Appeals. In our capacity, we hear petitions for relief from the strict provisions of our city ordinance. In matters of this type, the decision of the board is final in respect that it does not go to the mayor or the city council for further action. If you disagree with our decision, you have recourse in the court of record. We also hear petitions for variations of land use. In matters of this type, we act as an advisory committee to the mayor and the city council, making a recommendation either for or against it. The final decision on land use is made by the mayor and the city council. You can applaud if you wish. Thank you, thank you. No encores? Okay, is there any request to digress from the agenda?
Yeah, we're going to do roll call first. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's have a roll call first.
Ms. Darley? Here. Mr. Ferguson?
Here.
Mr. Graham?
Here.
Ms. Nevades? Ms. Powers?
Here.
Mr. Riggs?
Here.
Mr. Hennessy?
Here.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, we've got an agenda printed in front of you, but we do have requests to move two items up. The one item, we'll move that up because we're requesting a table, and that's item number 6 on the printed agenda. It's a variation of use and several variations to allow the continuation of 2 single-family residences, which are R3 uses in an I-1 light industrial district, and it's located at 562 North Scott Street. And in this case, they did a thorough inspection of the building. They found some serious code violations, some structural violations that are going to need a lot of time and attention before they can proceed with it. So with that, the staff's recommending table. The petitioner is here, a representative of the petitioner is here. So the request from the staff is that we table this matter, and the petitioner's representative is agreeable to that, and he asked one favor. He said, in light of that, can I get out of here quickly? So we'd like to honor that request. So again, that was item 2014-20 for 560 and 562 North Scott Street.
So if we table it, do we still have to let him go early, or can we
Yeah, we're going to let him go early.
stay?
No, we're going to let him go early.
Motion to table 2014-20 would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
We have motion second to table the petition. Call the order.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Darley? Aye. Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. What else?
All right, next up, item number 9 on your agenda. It's petition 2014-23. It's a variation of the maximum allowed area for a proposed monument sign from 150 square foot to 192 square foot, and it's located at 2609 through 2617 West Jefferson Street. And in this case, it's part of a very exciting project. We've got the petitioners here are going to build a Checkers restaurant at that location. In addition to that, they're going to build another Checkers restaurant on the east side of Joliet on Collins Street, and also a Popeyes restaurant at Cass and Collins. And they were going to go downstairs and talk to the media, and so there was a request by the mayor's office that we move this up so they can go off and do that. The interesting thing about the 3 restaurants, permanent employment for the 3 restaurants will be 150 people. It'll be some good investment in the town, and what I find out from some people, one of which is sitting next to me, they miss Checkers restaurant and can hardly wait till they come back. So with that, I'll read the staff report. We've got the applicant is Aurora Petroleum LLC. The location of this request is 1805 West Jefferson Street. The request is a series of variations on the maximum allowed signage. The purpose is the proposed petitioner is requesting variations on the signage at the existing mobile gas station in order to add a Circle K store and a Checkers fast food restaurant. And the request is to allow the maximum signage for monument sign from the 150 up to 215, to allow the maximum height from 25 up to 28, and to allow one additional wall sign, which would be the west facing, that does not face a street front. Under site-specific information, the 27,000 square foot site is zoned B3 General Business. It currently contains the mobile gas station. A special use permit to allow a car wash was approved by the mayor and council back in '08, but was never built. A variation to allow a 3-foot by 6-foot electronic message center of the proposed monument sign was approved back in '09. The surrounding land use and zoning, it's all commercial B3 in all directions. Applicable regulations that they're requesting is under 47-17.21 as it relates to signs. The Community Design Review Board looked at this case on May 15th, and the minutes are attached. And I think that concludes our staff report.
Thank you. Petitioner present? Let's swear you in. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth, sir?
Yes, I do.
May I have your name and address?
My name is Mohammed Abi, and I reside at 7304 Yorkshire Street in Joliet.
Any comments you'd like to make, sir?
No, the staff did a good job. That's basically it. If you have any question, I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay, are there any questions, comments from the board? Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition to the floor and asks the board for discussion and a vote.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Call the roll.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Darley? Aye. Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, we can go back to the agenda as printed.
Okay, Don Robke, Rush Transport, present?
Board members, in this case, the petition is requesting the approval of a special use permit in order to allow a trucking transportation company to locate in an existing vacant industrial building. Under site-specific information, the area in question was annexed and zoned I-2 General Industrial back in 1971. The 1.5-acre site was subdivided as part of the Crown Trig Industrial Park Unit 1 subdivision that was approved in 1977. The 10,000 square foot metal panel building was constructed in July of '94. A large partially paved parking area is located along the north, west, and south side of the building. The surrounding land use and zoning on all sides is industrial I-2. Applicable regulations, we're dealing with 47-14.2A, special uses in industrial districts, and also 47-5.2C, criteria for the issuance of special use permits. Under comments from city governments, the Community Design Review Board reviewed this on April the 30th. The minutes are attached. In discussion, the petition is requesting the approval of a special use permit in order to allow the existing Rush Transport Incorporated Freightliner trucking business to rent tenant space located at the subject site. The operation is currently located at 18644 Northwest Frontage Road in unincorporated Will County, and they need to relocate because the building and site constraints at their current location. It has been in existence for 13 years and currently operates 20 trucks, which are primarily on service routes Monday through Friday. According to petitioner, the only time that all 20 trucks would be parked at the site would be during the holidays. Minor preventative maintenance and repairs would be conducted on the fleet inside the building only. 8 of the 10 employees would work at the building regularly. There would be no trailer or container storage allowed on the site. Concrete paving of the gravel parking areas would be completed within 60 days as required by the engineering division. And then we've got conditions that we're suggesting, and that those conditions would be, if you approve this, that the existing gravel areas of the parking lot be paved with concrete within the 60 days, that the special use granted shall terminate and lapse unless a building permit is not pulled within the 180 days, and then lastly, that if it's ever declared a public nuisance, it could be subject to a rehearing and a possible revocation. And that concludes our staff report.
Thank you. Petitioner here? Want to come forward, please? Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth, sir?
Yes, I do.
May I have your name and address?
My name is Dan Robke. I reside at 811 Westbury Drive, Algonquin, Illinois.
Any comments you'd like to make, sir?
Nope, we pretty much covered it. Thank you.
Okay, any questions by the board? No comments? Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone opposed? Chair closes petition to the floor and asks the board for discussion and a vote.
I'll move for approval, Mr. Chairman, with the attached conditions.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Call the roll.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Darley? Aye. Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy.
Aye. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Paramount Staffing. Tina Schubert, present. Petition 2014-19.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, in this case, the owner of the property is Crystal Square LLC. The location is 2405 Essington Road, and that would be in Space G. And the request is to allow special use permit for a temporary staffing agency. The petition is requesting the special use to allow a temporary staffing agency in an existing commercial strip located at 2405 Essington Road. The previous case, the previous use of the Paramount staffing tenant space was a travel agency. The 1-acre site is located at the northwest corner of Essington and Caton Farm. The petition was filed May 1st. Site-specific information includes that the property is 13,500 square foot, L-shaped brick structure built on a slab in 1990. Adequate off-street parking for 75 cars to service the commercial centers provided on site. The temporary staffing agency is located near the center of the multi-tenant building. The site is Zone B1, which is a neighborhood business district. Surrounding land use and zoning, the land use and zoning adjacent to the site is single-family residential unincorporated Will County to the north, commercial Zone B3 general business to the south, commercial Zone B1 to the east, and single-family residential and unincorporated Will County to the west. Applicable regulations that we're dealing with would be 47-11.2AC, and that's special uses for business districts, and then also 47-5.2C, the criteria for the issuance of a special use permit. The Community Design Review Board reviewed this matter on June the 5th. The minutes are attached. And then we've got the discussion. Paramount Staffing is the sole owner-operator business that provides temporary employment services to local industry. Paramount Staffing moved to this location approximately 1 year ago. Recently, when the business applied for a sign permit, city staff advised that this type of business required the special use. Paramount Staffing has offices in Gurnee, Oak Park, Display, and Chicago Heights, and is located in other regions of the U.S. as well. The employment agency days and hours of operation are Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., with very limited hours on Saturday, and they're closed on Sunday. And then we're dealing with some conditions that are requested. That we've got the 180-day clause that they would have to do whatever it is they need to do within the 180 days. That if it's ever declared a public nuisance, it's subject to a possible revocation. And then lastly, that the business conforms to all applicable business codes and license requirements now and into the future. And that concludes the staff report.
Thank you. Petition. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth?
I do.
Your name and address, please.
Tina Schubert, 1529 Windy Hill Drive in Northbrook, Illinois.
And do you have any comments?
Just on the hours, that location is open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Okay, do you want to make that part of the petition? Any other comments?
It says it.
Any questions by the board? Moving right along. Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Is there anyone opposed? The chair closes the petition to the floor and asks the board for discussion and a vote.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Please call the roll.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Darley?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy.
Aye. Thank you. Petition, let's see here. Do we have Scott Huminski, Patriot Partners LLC? Okay, petition 2014-21.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, in this case, we've got an amended staff report that was modified slightly in front of you, and I think it was passed out, and let me read from that. We're dealing with, again, petition 2014-21. We've got Patriot Partners LLC as the applicant. The owner is ASR Investments, Clover Incorporated, and Coral Life LLC. The location is at 113 through 123 North Hickory. The request is for a series of variations regarding required lot width, front yard, side yard, lot area per family, off-street parking, and the waiver of the requirement of a planned unit development to allow the renovation of a vacant 15-unit row house structure into an 18-unit row house structure. Under purpose, the petition is requesting a series of variations to allow the renovation of the vacant 15-unit row house structure into 18. The requested variations are as follows. The variation of the maximum lot width from 50 down to 20. Variation of a required front yard from 25 down to 5. Variation of the required side yard from 9 to 0. A variation of the required lot area per family from 2,500 down to 902 square foot per family. Variation of the required off-street parking for the 27 spaces down to 21 spaces. A variation of the maximum lot coverage from 20 to 27%. And then lastly, a request for a waiver of the requirement to develop the site as a planned unit development. Under site-specific information, the subject site is located at the southwest corner of Hickory and Oneida on the near northwest side. The size of the parcel is 123 foot by 132 foot, or roughly 0.37 acres. The site is improved with 3-story red brick row house built circa 1890. The property is zoned R5 high-density multifamily, and this petition was filed on May the 14th. Surrounding land use and zoning. The land use zoning in the vicinity includes vacant multifamily residential, zoned R5 to the north, 2-unit residential zoned R3, 1 and 2 family to the south, single-family and multifamily zoned R2 and R5 to the east, and then commercial zone B3 to the west. Applicable regulations, we're dealing with 47-9A, R5 high-density permitted principal uses, 47-9.4 yard and lot requirements, 47-9.4G percentage of lot coverage, 47-16 the schedule of yard and lot area requirements, 47-17.17 off-street parking regulations. The Community Design Review Board reviewed all of this on June the 5th. The minutes are attached. And then we've got a discussion here. The petitioner, Patriot Partners, is a for-profit limited liability company comprised of a group of investors. The group plans to do a gut rehab of the 3-story vacant row house building or buildings. The structure is presently gutted, and all front porches were recently removed in preparation of rebuilding those elements. Under site history, the structure was originally built as side-by-side series of 6 single-family 3-story row houses. Beginning in the 1940s, some of the townhouses were divided to create additional units. By the mid-1980s, nearly every one of the townhouses had a record of being a 2-unit or a 3-unit occupancy. The Neighborhood Services Rental Inspection Program began in 1987. Lists of the townhouses as registered and certified as a 15-unit property. The rental office was on site at the North Townhouse at 123 North Hickory. In the years following enrollment in the rental inspection program, the site was recertified periodically via a 4-year certificate. The property sold in '05 as a 15-unit structure. A series of complaints about cleanliness and upkeep began in 2010. The property was sold to the current owner in November 13, and a building permit to allow the demolition in preparation of a renovation was issued in early this year. The property owner recently relocated the townhouse rental office from 123 North Hickory to 316 Oneida. The petitioner has been informed that the on-site rental office and the building construction contractor's office is not a permitted use at 316 Oneida. Therefore, a variation of use is required for that location as well. And then we've got discussion. The petitioner has developed an architect plans to renovate the row house structure, creating 6 garden-level handicapped accessible 1-bedroom units, 6 second-floor 1-bedroom units, and 6 third-floor 1-bedroom units for a total of 18 units. The former North Townhouse space would be converted from the rental office into 3-unit space, resulting in the 3 additional units at the site. In an alternate arrangement, the petitioner proposes to allow a veteran who occupies a rental unit at the subject site to become the building resident manager. The petitioner plans to dedicate this project to the housing that exclusively serves United States veterans. Sample floor plans are attached. Further details of the scope of the Veterans Housing Project are forthcoming. Staff anticipates that these details would be presented at today's hearing. It should be noted that renovation of the 15-unit townhouse structure represents continuation of the non-conforming use. The introduction of additional units results in a new project that represents a housing density 3 times greater than the density that's allowed in the R5 currently. Staff does not recommend increasing the density of an existing non-conforming use, and that concludes our staff report. And I believe, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, there's a little bit of additional history that was passed out by Barb Newberg. This is her case, and I think she's got some information about, from water billing, historical water billing records, and also some rental inspection records as well.
Okay, before we, the chair calls this petition to the floor, some questions have come up. I see where it states that this building has been gutted. Has staff been in there to, does that mean it's just a shell, or is it? Back in the 60s, I know that that was a 6-unit townhouse. It was developed by Nick Murphy, who also developed the Emco building here in Joliet. And that's the last personal information I have on it, because I actually sold 2 of those units for Mr. Murphy. After that, how did that develop into 15 units?
We're very unsure of that. I do know that, I've been at the city since 1980. I grew up in that neighborhood, as you did also, not very far away from there. I went to high school right across the street. And I only remember it as being a multifamily building. I remember, that it appeared to me from memory that there were, a little on the dense side. When it was converted, we don't know, but I do know when I first got hired with the city, I was the neighborhood planner, and reading the old, especially like the cathedral area plan, it talked about conversions were very rampant back during the 60s through the 70s, and a lot of times you find out that units were converted, single-family houses were converted to multifamily units, many times without necessary building permits. In this case, I think you'll see that there's a list of building permits that were granted back in the 70s. Some of them were kitchen remodels, some of them were, it's hard to tell what happened back then, but I guess suffice it to say that a lot of things must have happened when the 60s, when you sold them as single-family units, to 1987 or 86 when the rental inspection program started, and then mysteriously they went on the rental inspection program as 15 units. And so we really don't have an answer for you. We don't know. We don't know if this was done with, viable building permits that we can't find records of, because we did have a loss of many of our building inspection records over the years due to flood of areas where we stored them. There's a lot of stuff that's, now that the systems have been computerized, that old information wasn't carried over into the new computerized system. So basically, our look back really only goes back to the start of the rental inspection program. So, as far as we know, the past 25 years, it's been a 15-unit building, and the staff has sort of counseled on this, and we've said that we will not support them to go over the 15. We don't want to see the density get any worse. We don't know how defensible the current 15 units are. That's going to be
Well,
up to
I guess that's what the question that has risen is. I don't think it is defensible, and I'm questioning, whether even the 15 units is legal.
Again,
According to R5 zoning,
yeah.
you can't do any remodeling, altering, changing, or anything in an R5 unless it goes under a PUD.
Correct, and that's
That
under
was
the new
never
standard.
done.
Yeah.
So the question of legality enters in here, and also, was there a building permit issued for the gutting of that building?
Yeah, there was back in January of this
Sure did.
year.
Okay, fine. But I don't know if this board's ready to proceed on this until we have some sort of a legal answer on where we stand. Does it automatically get grandfathered in? Or if we deny the 18 unit or vote for it, whatever happens, does it automatically revert back to 15? Or does it go down to
Less
what
than
legally
that?
is required under an R5 zoning because it was never done under a PUD?
That I don't know. We'd have to spend some time with Corporation Counsel and see what the next move was. The interesting thing is that staff is not supportive of the 3 extra units, so that's what's before us today. Where we go from there,
I realize that, but I'm not
I'm a
sure
little
the
bit
board wants to
uncertain,
move
so-
on anything. Oh, Jeff, you're here. What would be the legal ramifications on that? Would it be grandfathered in automatically, or if we deny the 18, does it automatically stay at 15, or do we have other options here?
Well,
Because that zoning is high density.
right.
And it's for the veterans, which I'm a veteran, and you're all for that. I mean, we all like to have public opinion in favor of patriotism and all that. But if that's against the general public rule, why would we want to impose that kind of density on veterans who I think are more deserving of more consideration?
Well, you're right, Mr. Chairman. We don't have special rules for veterans that would allow densities that are higher than what we would permit generally in the city.
What would the density under R5P would be?
Well, it depends when you ask.
10 per acre or something like that?
Until about 1992 or 3, the R5 zoning district allowed 36 dwelling units per acre. This site is a third of an acre. So setting aside any lot size deficiencies and just looking at the maximum of dwelling units that the R5 would have allowed up until the early 90s, this lot could not have been legally improved with more than 12 units.
That goes
would-
back to when, you say? 87?
It was the standard in place from the from the 1960s to the 1990s. In the 1990s, the standard was changed from 36 dwelling units per acre to 10. So the question of what the maximum number of units could have been at this site, I suppose if we know the property was improved as a 6-unit initially, your comments indicate that in the 60s, it was still a 6-unit. And so sometime between the 60s and today is when the conversions occurred. I can tell you that in 1968, the zoning ordinance was modified, and at that point, the city established a 36 dwelling unit per acre maximum. And then that number stood intact until 93, when the 36 became 10. So if, we don't have enough facts to answer all of your questions today, but it appears to me from what I'm hearing here is that from 1968 until 1993, the density cap was 36 dwelling units per acre. This site is 1/3 of an acre, so 12 would have been the maximum. Assuming that building permits were obtained and all the other regulatory approvals were obtained. We don't have any information about any of that, other than we do have building permit records for things like fire damage repair and kitchen remodeling and a re-roof. So,
Those are all incidental, though.
well, sure, but it shows that our records going back to the 70s do not reveal any building permit requests for conversions. So it's a mystery as to when the property was modified. And so to say today what the total number of units legally would be on the site, absent of variation, it would depend when the conversions occurred. If they occurred after 1968, any number in excess of 12 would not be conforming to our ordinance. If they happened before 1968, they may be. You'd have to look at it. What's before you today is just a request to do 18. And no matter how you vote, for example, if you turn that down, the question of the 15 would still remain an open question. Although I would say I don't know if it would be appropriate to make an important decision about whether 18 is permissible at the site if you don't know if the 15 was permissible at the site or how we got there.
I can only assume that whoever owned those 6 units, they were probably sold individually and to the people that bought them, and they were just individually converted over the years, and no one ever got any permits. That's the only assumption I can make.
Well, you had 6 different units with 6 different owners, theoretically. You ended up with 15, so there could have been several conversions by several parties over several years.
Well, with that, I'm going to leave it up to the decision of the board. If they feel they have enough information, proceed, we shall. If not, we can ask for a tabling motion until we can get some more information. What is your wishes?
I personally like to have more information.
I agree.
So I would motion to table it.
I second.
Okay, any conditions at all? Just a tabling motion?
For information.
Okay, we have a motion to table until we can get some further details and research on the history of this location. Call the roll.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Darley?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. I would suggest that the staff get together with the petitioners and whatever other people are involved and get some more information so this board can take some action on this in the future. Do you want to table it specifically to the next meeting, or?
I think we should table specifically to the next meeting, and hopefully we can find some additional information to shed more light on it by then.
Okay, do you want to make an addendum to your motion to make it specific to that
That's
date?
fine.
Yes.
Okay, it's tabled till the next meeting, which would be the third Thursday of next month.
Thank you.
Okay, where are we here? Petition 2014-22.
In this case, the applicant is Doyle Signs Incorporated. The owner is Jeff Cat LLC. The location of this request is at 2609 through 2617 West Jefferson Street, and it's a series of variations, and the purpose is the petitioner is requesting a variation of the maximum allowed signage for a proposed multi-tenant monument sign from 150 to 192. The 1.7-acre site comprises 2 lots within the recently approved Jeff Cat subdivision, which is the former site of the Duke Automotive Facility, also known as Joliet Dodge. The proposed 7,570 square foot building proposed for Lot 1 will include the Chipotle, Mooyah Burgers, and the Potbelly Sandwich Restaurant. There is no known user for the 4,000 square foot building being proposed on Lot 2 at this time. The existing zoning is a B3 general business. Surrounding land use and zoning, to the north is residential with R2. To the south, east, and west is commercial with a B3. Under applicable regulations, we're dealing with 4717.21 as it pertains to signs. The Community Design Review Board met and reviewed this on May the 15th. The minutes are attached. Under discussion, the requested variation of the signage will allow an increase in the size of the monument sign in order to include 7 potential tenants on the same multi-tenant sign. The sign height is proposed at 19 foot 8 inches high. The masonry base will match the existing stone of the proposed buildings. There are no visibility conflicts with the traffic circulation caused by the sign. And that concludes the staff report.
Thank you. Petitioner present?
Yes.
Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth, sir?
I do, yes.
Name and address?
John Streets with Doyle Signs, 232 West Interstate Road, Addison, Illinois, 60101.
And would you like to make some statements?
Real quick, I just want to say this location is unique because there will be 2 separate buildings on the property, and combining the tenant identification on one sign will improve the visual image of the property and will not require the use of 2 separate signs. And I'm here to answer any questions anyone has.
Is that building going to be enlarged, or?
No, there's a second building that's going behind the building with Chipotle and the other tenants in it.
To be constructed, or?
Yeah.
Exactly, yes.
That's not part of this petition, then?
The Aldi's it's going to have its own freestanding sign then, is that they'll have a sign for their lot, and then this is the multi-tenant building that's a little bit farther to the west. So this is right where Caterpillar Drive empties right into.
I know the lot. I was just going to figure out how they're going to get this all into that one little building.
Yeah. There'll be 3 buildings on the property on 3 separate lots.
Eventually.
When it's all done.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Is there anyone opposed? Chair closes petition to the floor. Ask the board for discussion and a vote.
Move to approve.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Darley?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Petition 2014-24.
Mr. Chairman, in this case,
Mark.
the applicant is Ashraf O'Day. He's the leasee. The owner is Z-Mark Incorporated, which is Joe Mahalik and Ken Clymer. The location is 116 East Jackson Street. The request is a special use permit to allow a thrift store in an existing commercial strip center. The petitioner requesting the special use permit to allow the operation of a thrift store in a vacant portion of a one-story commercial structure located at 116 East Jackson. A furniture store previously occupied the storefront. In February 1984, the board approved a variation to allow the collection and storage of aluminum in a trailer at the subject site. The property is located at the southwest corner of Jackson and Franklin. Site-specific information: the site consists of a 47,837 square foot brick with block backup commercial building built on a slab in 1960. The lot size is approximately 4.3 acres. A certified foods grocery store and a liquor store are part of the commercial strip center. The thrift store will be in the middle portion of the center, just west of the certified foods. The site is Zone B3, which is a general business zoning. This case was filed on May the 16th. Surrounding land use and zoning and the character of the surrounding land use and zoning includes commercial and institutional, which is a church, Zone B3 to the north, single-family, multifamily residential, Zone B3 to the south, 1 and 2 family residential, and the community center, the Spanish Center, zoned R2 single-family, and also R3, which is the 1 and 2 family, is to the east, and light industrial zoned I1 is to the west. Applicable regulations we're dealing with is 47-11.2A, and that's the criteria for the issuance of a special use. The Community Design Review Board reviewed this matter on June the 5th, and the minutes are attached. And then we've got discussion. The leased space is approximately 51 foot wide by 150 foot deep. That's 7,650 square foot. The thrift shop will sell new and used household goods, furniture, clothing, and toys. Certain items offered for sale will be surplus or damaged goods from major retailers like Walmart, Target, Toys R Us, JCPenney. No food or edible items will be sold at the store. Adequate off-street parking to service the thrift store is available on site, and there's a site plan attached. And then if the zoning board approves this, there's conditions that are recommended, and that the building permit be pulled within 180 days, that if it's declared the public nuisance, it could be reheard or revoked, and that they follow all business building codes and business license requirements now and into the future. That concludes our staff report.
Petitioner present? You swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth, sir?
Yes, sir.
May I have your name and address?
It's Ashraf O'Day, 2014 Sudbury Drive, Joliet, Illinois.
Any comments you'd like to make, sir?
No.
Boy, we're on a roll. Any questions or comments?
What would the hours of the store be?
From 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
9 to 7. And how many employees?
Hopefully, the business is good. We could have up to 8 to 10 employees.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Is there anyone opposed? Chair closes petition to the floor and asks the board for discussion and a vote.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Call the roll.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Darley?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you. Did we miss anybody?
That's the question I was going to ask. We still have people left, so
I don't know, maybe they came to watch the show. I don't know. See if I knew my speech.
yeah,
Yeah, that's right. Everybody on the board has to stay until I find my speech.
that's right. And we'll see.
Okay, a motion would be in order to approve the minutes of the last meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye. Aye. We are stand adjourned.
Thank you, one and all.